Yeah. It's just like reason. Everything's just like because the then you start looking at our classes and now like there's this huge document where you list all of our every single like all the class that are like what we do now reading. Then they finish the LA. List all the kids where we don't separate moments. Geometry. Or whatever. We just look in there, we do the same thing in LA. But then yourself. And I'm like, who's going to teach all these classes? Like the LA classes? I don't know. Well, just in LD would be 3 people. I think yeah, I know it's like I was missing that. Yeah. So trying to keep this fun for you. Yeah, I think that's what you question. I know she was kind of in the fence once this year. She could still retire. I guess she know. Like even like after. Yeah. I remember watching Jennifer and I are staying
What kind of I mean, they're all like individually, and I don't know all the reasons. That's the one I forget about. It's like, I don't even know what his room is. It's like some random. Yeah. But yes. She got pictures of all her checks. Which I was not. I'm assuming most of them. I'm sure. Yeah, I've heard it otherwise. And I thought schools were doing that more guidance. But I have no idea. I'm like, so I'm not even planning on it. Just had to stop coming. DVD. Okay, yeah. And then we have one that does work experience. Like, oh, yeah, we don't have much. She doesn't really actually teach or whatever, but yeah, so she's something. So yeah, that's what it does. Because then like LD, and then we also cover some of the years. So does the other actually all. I have some that are yeah. Oh yeah, that's usually what we've done. No. Yeah, I know, like I
I've had seniors that
There's a spotlight.
Oh, and that's like for Alpha 2 as well.
I mean, I don't know that he's like,
But he's he won't know for sure. Just yeah, I was gonna say like and I have the right place like that's weird. I didn't
Hello.
You're gonna do it.
same
To a lie. It should be to a lie. It should be to a lie. Can't walk. Hi, Mother. Hey. Nothing much. Oh.
Yeah, go back. What? I don't know. Oh. Yeah.
Cat. Mom, can I borrow your headphones?
Sure.
Mom, can I borrow your headphones? Yes, bitch.
Yeah, bro.
Mom, can I borrow your headphones?
Yes.
Yay,
Couldn't
because
find you, so it's yours.
because these ones aren't working very well. They keep fading in and out. I'm just like, what the fuck? No, stop it. Is that your
I don't have
phone?
mine.
No, that is a phone.
Oh, it looks like a phone.
Shit, I don't have mine. I would have let you borrow mine because, like, I don't mind. I have good face. Oh.
It-
Mine, not these ones. Right.
Yes.
I gotta go though, so yeah.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
you too.
Bye.
Bye, you. Oh God.
Bye. I'm listening to one of the best. I'm listening to one of the best Monster High songs. I will send it to you. Bye, Mother. Bye.
This one.
Sorry. I don't want to say it. Not like class too. I'm not.
I'll wait for you to go ahead and finish what you need to say. That way I'm not interrupting you. Yeah. Yeah, I was raised that way. You don't talk with someone else. Yeah. I'm not interrupting you. Okay, now here's what's going to happen. We're going to review chapters 1 through 5. I'd like to remind you, boys and girls, you have a quiz tomorrow on chapters 1 through 5. Okay? Your quiz is just chapters 1 through 5, and it's based on the novel with a little bit of background information. I guarantee you, boys and girls, if you pay attention in class today, you will get some answers for tomorrow's quiz. Because what I did, I based the review on the quiz. In fact, I had the quiz in front of me as I was creating this review. So you will have some answers. All I'm asking you to do is pay attention. And when you hear me say, this will be on the quiz, I'm not bluffing, I'm serious. Okay? I don't have time to bluff because I want you all to do well this trimester. Okay? So you may take out your notebook so you can write down a few of those quiz questions and then wink. No, don't wink. That's weird. That's awkward. Don't wink at us. Okay, fine. What's that? Yes, you may go. So let's take a look at this presentation here. The test is tomorrow, and I'm not here tomorrow. Okay, let's take a look at this. Yeah. No, we're so your laptop.
I'm going to take notes of here.
So, if you happen to miss some days, we're going to do a quick review of chapter 1 through 5. And in the past, this not only helps you on the quiz, but it also helps you understand the next 5 chapters. Okay? So let's take a look. There's a movie to this book that we will watch. Okay?
Yes.
If time permits, we will watch the movie at the end. I'm going to talk about chapter 1 really quickly here. Again, remember that chapter 1 starts us off in San Francisco, California, December 2001. And the narrator, the adult Amir, tells us about a time, the winter of 1975, something has been bothering him for 26 years. And it's that winter of 1975, he's looking down a dark alley, and he hasn't been able to forget it for a long time. Okay, so we're going to come back to this present in chapter 14. Okay, so we're going to come back, but however, the narrator tells us his friend Rahim Khan calls him, yes, 25 chapters, which allows us to cover 5 chapters a week. So Rahim Khan calls him from Pakistan to atone his past. But I do have it. I don't see him. All right. So he says there's a way to be good again, right? That's what Rahim Khan says. There's a way to be good again. But all he was trying to do for 26 years is forget all about it, and then he gets that phone call, and he gets an opportunity. He sees a kite in the sky. There's symbolism of kites. Anybody fly kites? Yeah. When I that's the story. We find out this kite flying growing up is a favorite pastime. It's something you did with your parents, right? On a nice, beautiful, sunny day, you flew kite. Yeah.
Did you fly kite?
I did when I was young. Yeah, with my brothers and my sisters. So there's the symbolism of kites. Right off the bat, we're introduced to the kite runner. Who is the kite runner? Hassan. Okay, so remember that as well. So let's look at chapter 2.
Okay, chapter 2 is a lot about Amir and Hassan's friendship, their relationship. Is it an equal type of relationship? No. What makes it a little different? Good. Okay, so there's the distinction. One is Pashtun, there is, and Hassan is one is Sunni, the other one is Shia. We learned that they spend a lot of time together. They go to movies. But even though they do all these things together, Amir does not include him when he has other friends over. So there's a little bit of a distinction there. What is Hassan really good at? A slingshot. And basically he kind of saves them from Asaf bullying with his brass knuckles. The threat of being shot by Hassan stops Asaf from attacking Amir. We know that Amir is educated and Hassan is not because he's a servant, but yet Hassan loves to listen to Amir read to him. And we know he's intelligent, he just hasn't had the chance for an education. We know that Baba, the main character, is a big personality. He's an important person in his community because what has he done? He's built an orphanage. He's kind of gone above and beyond what people would expect that he could do. He owns several businesses with his partner, Rahim. So he has been very successful. Hassan's father is Ali. And Ali's relationship with Baba is similar to relationship of Amir to Hassan, right? Because Ali is also a servant, was a friend of Baba's. Baba has, as a father, you consider him a good father? Yeah, yeah, not necessarily, right? Why not, Joe? Yeah, he appears to not like his son. He just doesn't understand him because they are so big. Baba's into sports, and he's this big, strong guy, whereas he looks at his son, Amir, and thinks he is what? Weak. Does he like sports?
what does he really want? He's kind of dreamy, kind of in his own little world. And when he gets into trouble, Amir, who helps him out, who comes to his rescue? Hassan, the loyal servant / friend. And it's important for you to remember that when Amir was born, his mother died. Okay? And Amir feels like he is responsible for the death of his mother, which he feels like maybe that's one of the reasons his dad and he are not close, because he killed his beautiful wife. Okay, so that's kind of a very sad thing. Does Baba say that out loud? No, but it's sort of there. That's the thought that's going on between the two of them. Yes. Yep.
She ran off. Okay, and then in chapter 3, this is where we learn more about just how successful Bubba is, right? He's a man who's worked hard for what he has. He doesn't come from a rich bloodline, right? He worked hard in making his business. He's built an orphanage. Everything he has, he was able to get because he worked hard for it. Despite the fact, he is a Pashtun, right? He's a Pashtun, and with being of the majority, you get certain privileges, right? But he owned a carpet exporting business, 2 pharmacies, and a restaurant, and then he was so successful that he decided to do something great for his community by building this orphanage. And we know that Amir doesn't care for this orphanage because his dad spends a lot of time there. Yeah.
Baba was hang around with you, so they never like phone all this thing.
No.
Even if
Even if he
you like work hard for it.
worked hard for it, because remember, he wouldn't be given the access to work hard for it, right? We know that Ali and Hassan don't have access to education, right? And one of the ways to get business is to be informed about it. If he was a Hazara of lower class, they don't have access to much. So if he was a Hazara, he would not have the success that he has, right? He married a beautiful woman who was highly educated and very popular. Remember, all his friends told Baba, there's no way you're going to marry a beautiful woman. You just don't come from a bloodline of fortune. There's no way you can get a pretty girl. But he ends up getting a beautiful, educated young lady named, anybody remember her name? What's her name? Sophia, right? Sophia Akan, I think it was on chapter 3. Let me find it. Let's see who finds it first.
I didn't read that fast.
Because I'm so smart. No, are you doubting how smart I am?
Or you maybe about it for
Yeah. Fortunately, I didn't this book before that. Despite success, people were always doubting him. They told Baba that running a business wasn't in his blood and he should study law like his father. So Baba proved them all wrong by not only running his own business, but becoming one of the richest merchants in Kabul. Remember, Kabul, Afghanistan is the capital. Baba and Rahim Khan built a widely successful carpet exporting business, 2 pharmacies, and a restaurant. When I was 5th grade. Well, you found Sophia Akrami. Where do you find that? What page? 50. 15. Oh, there it is. It was there. Sophia Akrami is her name. So he marries this beautiful, successful, well-educated, and we can assume that Amir is probably more like his mother, right? She was into reading and writing, which is where he gets much of his interest in books. Amir loves his father. He admires his father. However, he's a little jealous because Baba always wants to include Hassan in everything. Baba is always busy with soccer. Baba is always busy with his business. He just doesn't have enough time for him right now. So he's not given the attention. And Bubba requires him to be strong, right? A little bit more masculine. He wants him into sports, right? We have the stereotypical idea that with masculinity is closely related to sports. A prime example is most of the full ride scholarships come from sports, right? If you have a great academic success or you're into the arts, you will get some scholarship, but not a full ride. We've become such we've become a society that correlates sports with masculinity. And that's what Bubba wants him. So he doesn't want him to be. He doesn't show him affection. It's like Rahim Khan does all that, right? Affirmation is very important. When Amir is made fun of, Hassan always steps in. And remember the famous quote that Bubba says? He says, you know what, Rahim Khan, when they're having a conversation and Amir is right outside the door and he's listening in on the conversation, Bubba says, you know what, Rahim? A boy who doesn't stand up for himself becomes a man who doesn't stand for anything. Okay? A boy who doesn't stand up for himself becomes a man who doesn't stand for anything. Remember that quote because it's going to come up again. A very important quote there. And he goes further to say, you know what? If I didn't see him come right out of my wife, I wouldn't believe he's my son. Which once again shows just how different they are. And Amir hears that. And he becomes a bit resentful towards his father. Yeah. I'd never believe he's my son. But Baba doesn't know that Amir heard that. Let's look at chapter 4.
Here we get a little more background on Amir and Hassan's relationship. We know that Hassan just basically is so loyal. He's like a puppy. He's with them and does whatever Amir says he should do. Amir is a Sunni, and Hassan is a Shia, which separates them. And then he makes fun of Hassan one day. You remember what it is? The word imbecile. What does he tell Hassan that it means? So he puts it in a sentence and he says Hassan is an imbecile when it comes to words. Yeah. And Hassan, being the innocent person he is, and trusting, he believes in him. So we know that's going to cause him a problem later on.
What's your question, Andy?
If a Hajara is a Sunni, would they still be treated the same way?
Yes. Because think of it this way. The best way to compare it is African Americans in America, right? You have this visible difference between white people and black people. So even if an African American chooses to practice Christianity, they somehow still be treated based on historical facts a little bit inferior. It's changing, yeah, but it does not get them out of their category.
I think of it more like India, the caste system, where you can never move your way up. You're stuck.
And African Americans can move up, right, in this country. However, a Hazara can never move up because again, they don't have access to education as well as access. They're just not treated well. They don't even have a name. They're not called by their names. They're seen on the streets and they're called a Hazara. Yeah.
I wouldn't compare it to the caste system because the caste system is religion based and this is like racial. And
Okay.
there's-
Yeah. The part that is not used for now.
Yeah.
And remember that Amir and Hassan's relationship mirrors Baba and Ali's relationship, right? Even though the two boys and the two men shared a great childhood, they have wonderful, wonderful stories about their childhood. Amir and Hassan fed from the same breast as they grew up in the same household. The same woman raised them. They go to movies together. They have fun together. However, at the end of the day, they can't be friends. they can't be friends. But they are, but they can't be friends. Like, oh.
Is the hot on and then we
I can't remember.
I don't think so.
No,
Because they said it got split.
Yes, in chapter 5 it gets fixed. So I
pretty
don't know if
early
they,
on.
I don't know if they include that in the movie. Then we move on to chapter 5. Remember in chapter 4, at the end of it, also in chapter 4, remember the story that Amir writes. That's on the quiz. Remember, it's about a man who discovers that his tears turn into pearls if he cries into this particular cup. And he gives his story to Rahim Khan. Rahim Khan teaches him, hey, this is pretty good irony here. Wow, bravo. And then he reads it to Hassan, and Hassan says, couldn't he just smell an onion? And from there, he learns plot hole, right? So he learns two figurative, and that's on the quiz too, two figurative terms, irony from Rahim Khan and plot hole from Hassan, right? He finds plot hole, well, couldn't he have written this instead so he didn't have to kill his wife? But we all know that violence often sells movies, right? So we know that from the book, from chapter 4, he shares his story with Hassan, and Hassan is so supportive. He's the loyal friend that he should be. Rahim Khan is supportive. Baba never reads it. But after chapter 4, Afghanistan is never the same. Yes? Ali doesn't read it. Ali is illiterate. Right? Ali and Hassan are illiterate. They can't read or write. Which is why,
He woke up Hassan to listen to it. Then the father became like half awake.
possibility, but it doesn't say it in the book. So you can make an inference, maybe, yeah, but it doesn't say, right? So remember that chapter 4, Amir could be characterized as a good friend because it reads to him. He reads his favorite book. Anybody remember what they carved in that tree, the pomegranate tree? Of Kabul. Yes, Amir and Hassan, the sultans of Kabul. And Kabul, remember, is the capital city of Afghanistan. This is where our book takes place, Kabul, Afghanistan. Okay? So remember that. So you can characterize him as a good friend based on what he's doing for Hassan, but he's a little jerk sometimes. We all have that one friend. Am I the only one that has that one friend? Time I dump her? That we can't be friends? Especially when she calls me an imbecile. It doesn't mean smart, does it? All right, chapter 5 is very important. This is where we meet Asaf. Okay? Remember once again, Hassan and Amir are between the ages 10 and 12. And we only know that because we get it in the beginning of the story. Asaf, we can say he's between 15 and 17. So he's older. Asaf has 2 boys that follow him everywhere. Anybody remember those 2 boys? Willie and Kamal, right? They're going to come up in the book as well. And Asaf has this goal to purify Afghanistan, give it back to the Pashtuns, make it great again. But what's ironic about that? He admires Hitler. Yeah, he doesn't even fit the description. So we're going to get rid of everyone who's not a Pashtun. Asaf is going right with them, right? Very similar to Hitler's goal of purifying Germany, making it blonde hair, blue eye. Look at him. I'm like, dude, you don't even fit that description. Are you sure about this plan? Maybe you want to make some changes? So he admires Hitler. And he says, if Hitler finished what he started, we'd never be in this situation, right? And then Amir says, hey, you know what? We don't want any trouble, and we're not trying to bother you. Oh, you bother me. You bother me because you're friends with this Hazara. And then Amir says, well, he's not my friend. He thinks that, yes. He thinks that in his head. He's not my friend, he's my servant. And he starts to question himself, did I really think that? Could it be that I really thought that? Well, if I did think that, how come I don't include Hassan in all the games really reflect, right? We know that Asaf is violent. He's the neighborhood bully. He's known for his what? His brass knuckles. Hassan pulls out a rock. We know once again, because Bubba knows it too, who rescues Amir? Hassan. And we know that Hassan is deadly with a slingshot. We learned that in chapter 2, right? So he stands behind Amir and he says, leave us alone, Aha. We don't want any trouble. And then Asaf says, put it down, and he takes out his brass knuckles, but Hassan doesn't move. And it's only with that does Asaf and Willie and Kamal move on. And he says, this is going to come up. Asaf says, I never forget. And he looks at Amir and he says, one day you and I are going to face one-on-one, mar to mar, man to man. And he looks at Hassan and he says, oh, I will find you. Right? And we're going to find out what he means by that. Asaf says, this is not over, get you back. Then we know that the Soviet expansion of Afghanistan, because while the king was out on vacation, who took over?
His cousin.
His cousin, right? And the king is like, all right, you take it, it's yours. I'm not coming back. And we know that there's a coup. What does Hassan get as a birthday gift? Plastic surgery, right? He sees a short Indian man who looks more like a math teacher. And then he says, I'm your birthday present. And then Hassan looks at Amir and says, Amir, will it hurt? And that's where Amir recalls his circumcision at the age of 10. He's like, yeah, when doctors tell you it's not going to hurt, it's going to hurt, right?
Like a couple hours.
Couple hours, yeah. Yes. 80? No. But anyways, his birthday gift is a plastic surgery to fix his cleft lip, right? But ironically, the chapter ends with, that's the last time Hassan smiled. Right? Finally, he gets the surgery, fixes his cleft lip. That's the last time Amir recalls Hassan smiling. We're going to find out exactly what that means. I will skip through that. Here are some terms you should be familiar with. You'll see on the quiz tomorrow. Quiz. The magic word. The word John. You often hear this word Amir John. Rahim Khan uses this word towards Amir. Says Amir John. The best thing I can equate John to is like sir or ma'am, right? A term of endearment often used after a person. Baba John, Amir John. It's rarely ever used with Ali and Hassan because remember they are of lower class. Okay, so if I say Max John, I'm just telling you that word of endearment, right? Yeah, absolutely. But I'll never call you out. I don't say that. Yeah, Amir Agha, this means leader, ruler, master, lord. You'll find this used. Ali would often reference Baba this way. Hassan will reference Amir this way. Amir Agha, Asab Agha, leave us alone. It's just validating someone's superiority, right? So if you were to say Omar Agha, I'd probably sit here and smile and I'm like, yes. And then there are a few of you who probably smart out about it. Sahib, actually Sahib is also in my native tongue, which means friend. In the Somali language, friend is also Sahib. Which is interesting. And I don't know if it's Arabic or if it's Farsi, I don't know where it comes from, but it's also in the Somali language. Sahib.
Non-bread. I've been eating non-bread in a Indian restaurant. Great. Fresh, flat bread. You just rip it off and eat it. And then la. You might want to know that one. La is an exaggeration. They talk about the Afghan people like to exaggerate people's abilities and so on. If their son is in biology, the parents might say, oh, my son would be a doctor. Well, everybody else knew that La, that is an exaggeration. And they talk about Abba wrestling a bear, and most people took it off as La. It was an exaggeration. The big guy, that legend about wrestling a bear.
Almost a tall tale, I would say. So you will see lots on the quiz tomorrow, which is why you have an asterisk there. So make sure you know the definition of bluff. Okay, an exaggeration to the point where it's funny, right? Tomorrow. All right, let's see here. We can have. So a few symbols and motives here. I told you I'd show you a picture of a cleft lip. Okay, it's mostly common in third world countries who don't have proper medical or healthcare systems, right? Children are often born with a split on their upper lip, or sometimes it's attached to their nostril, or there's some kind of deformity in their upper gum. Okay, a cleft lip, hair lip is the term used for it as well. My niece, my first cousin's daughter, was born with a cleft lip, and she had a surgery to make it from America, so she doesn't have it anymore. But you know that Hassan is born with a cleft lip. He doesn't talk much about it, but Amir addresses it. And by the end of chapter 5, it's fixed, right? Just I'd say close to your nostril as possible. There are some kids, it is like this wider gap, and there are some kids who's just a smaller gap. I would Google some images, but some of them seem to be a bit graphic, but you can actually look it up. It's an actual thing.
Basically, in the U.S., children have surgeries right away. So it's taken care of. But in third world countries, they might have to live with that for a while. Oh, it's like a hole.
Yeah, a split, a hole. Sometimes the gap is wider, sometimes it's not as wide. It varies for sure. Remember the pomegranate tree? This is the place Amir and Hassan go to just escape the judging eyes of Hazara and Pashtun and Sunni and Shia. It's just an opportunity for these two boys to be friends or to be who they are. It's their spot, right? They're to go to spot to just get away from the Kabul, Afghanistan. And it is the pomegranate tree that they engrave Hassan and Amir and Hassan, the Sultan of Kabul. And this is where Amir goes to read Hassan's favorite book. And he loves that story so much. And he says, read it again, read it again. He listens, even though he can't read or write, he listens very well. And pomegranate tree will come up a few times. Kites will come up. We're going to learn a little bit about the kite tournament. So during the winter season, in chapter 6, kite fighting is an actual sport in Afghanistan, and it has been a sport. It's called kite fighting season. I will show you a video of how that works and how the winner is determined. I'll show you a video of it, but they talk about it in chapter 6 for sure.
Is it just like a fist fight while you're trying to keep a pen over?
No, there's glass and glue to the string. So when the kites are up there, go like this, and the kite cut the string of the other kites.
You want to be the last kite standing of flying. Dreams. We're gonna learn a little bit about dreams in chapter 6. Hassan has a dream. He shares it with Amir. So these are symbols that will come up as we go along. And other minor symbols that you should know, the slingshot. Hassan is dead with the slingshot. Everyone knows that these brass knuckles is associated with the Seth. the Mustang. Remember, Bubba has a really cool Ford Mustang. It's the car that he uses to take Amir to school, and all the kids are in awe. It's like, oh, look at that Ford Mustang. Pretty big deal back then. The John Lennon style sunglasses, just more circular than what we're used to today.
I think the influence of the American, the British, the Beatles, pop culture.
And it's pretty, and Amir and Hassan share the John Lennon glasses, but they also share the hats because they're into old Western movies. Okay, yeah.
Do we ever meet any of the grandparents?
Nope. We know that Hassan's grandpa, Ali's dad, was murdered. And Bubba's father died in a car accident. No?
Bubba's father was a lawyer.
Yeah, I thought he was stabbed.
Murdered.
Oh yeah, he was murdered.
I thought Ali's father was murdered.
No, they were
No, I'm
in
sorry.
a car accident.
He heard it from Rahim Khan. No, someone else told him. Amir was like, I always hear Baba stories from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a car accident. He was a orphan. The people that killed him did go to court.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that now. Hey, which of these sentences is false? Forget it. Which one is false?
No.
The Kite Runner is an autobiography.
Yes. So the Kite Runner is and the Kite Runner is not an autobiography.
It's almost like
It is a realistic fiction. So it is not based on the author's life. As much as I want it to be, it's not. He says it's a realistic fiction. But everything else here, Khalid Hosseini graduated from medical school. This is what fascinates me about the book. How does a doctor go into creative writing, right? Usually doctors are come up with books that are based on medical or research and such. But here you have a doctor who wrote a realistic fiction. We know that he works with the United Nations as a way to give back and make Afghanistan better because that's where he's from. The author is from Kabul, Afghanistan. So now with everything that's been going on, he works with the United Nations refugee as a goodwill envoy to give back to his country, especially now that he has a little bit more money to offer. We know that the novel is told in first-person narrative. Whose perspective? Amir's perspective. And we will stay with Amir's perspective until chapter 14 and 15. Okay? So make sure you know this because you will see it again on the quiz tomorrow.
I don't want that quiz.
So make sure you answered some of your reading questions. Make sure you know the short story that Amir wrote. That's on the quiz. So you have true, false, multiple choice, and a couple of short answer responses. Not short answer responses where I'm not requiring you to do ACE. I'm just asking that you're able to answer some of the questions that you have. Okay, now I'd like to remind you your short answer responses using the ACE strategy. We talked about this yesterday, boys and girls. This is the format we're looking for. Just a few reminders. Your answer A cannot be a fact. I cannot say Hassan is a Hazara so far in the text. That is not an opinion. If you give me a fact, well, I don't need you to cite or explain your answer because, yeah, right? Think about it. It's opinions you have to justify, not facts. So make sure your answer is an opinion. make sure you are leading into your citation. Don't just plug in your citation. And the explanation should be 3 sentences long. Be sure to get this example. The 2 questions are on the board. Your reading questions and SARs are due Friday. Okay? Tomorrow you have a quiz. Chapters 1 through 5. When you're done with the quiz, then you will get more time to work on your reading questions. So there's no excuse to why you shouldn't be done with this, because we're giving you the time to do it. Yes?
All 15 questions are for 1 through 5.
Yep, 15. Are there any questions you're struggling with that I can help you locate? Yes.
Number 14.
Number 14. Hassan has plastic surgery to be able to smile normally by the following winter. Why does Amir think that is ironic? Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So once he gets the surgery,
the year
in
after.
chapter 5, it was the last time he's ever seen him smile.
Well, the year after. The winter after
Yeah.
that one.
Number
Number 5.
Okay.
Who is Sanabar? Who is Sanabar?
Sanabar is yeah, Hassan's mom.
Hassan's mother. Number 5. And she is also a Hazara, a beautiful Hazara. And how is she contrasted to Amir's mother?
She left and
She
did not die.
willingly, where Amir's mom
Died
had no
giving birth.
choice. She died during birth. Yes. We don't ever get a name for her, but we get where she's from. You don't have to worry about her. It's not on the quiz because we don't hear from her again. Any other questions? Yes. Number 4. What contrast is made between Amir and Hassan? You can look at it.
That's
you can look
3.
At it at a
That's
surface.
3.
I'm sorry.
Number 4 is
How does Amir describe his home?
Oh, jeez.
big mansion, prettiest in the district, he says, probably.
Yes. Marble floor. Marble floor. I mean, I feel like when he's describing it, I feel like I'm watching MTV Cribs. Right? And then he describes Hassan's. I'm like, oh, really? You can get him a guest house, but it's a shed.
Hey, bogus.
That's because they are conforming. They are conforming to society's expectations for a Hazara. If they were to give them a nice guest house, then let's just say people would not be happy with Baba and Amir. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh. Number 13. What happens between Asaf, Wali, Kamal, Amir, and Hassan?
Well, there's a fight.
Yeah.
The whole almost conflict that happens.
Mhm.
Things.
Asaf targets
Amir.
Hassan and Amir, but more so Hassan, and he tries to bully them through physical confrontation, but he never gets to it. Because, any other one? Here you have the rest of the class period. Remember the book is online. Oh, Elena.
Yeah.
Number 10.
Number 10.
What does Baba give Hassan for his birthday? The plastic surgery. What does his present suggest about his character, Baba's character?
That he's carrying.
Yes. Wait, I'm answering. What does his present, Baba's present suggest about Baba's character?
He's caring.
He's caring.
At times.
You can say he cares about Hassan as if he was his own. You can say he's superficial, meaning he cares about people's looks. How does Amir react to this present?
He is like,
He's like, boy, he was just born with that stupid hair lip, and he gets a lot more than I do.
I thought you were talking about. I was like, what?
Then you gotta see, why did the present turn out to be ironic? That's very closely related to that last question. What question?
Who's the king's cousin?
King's cousin is
It's
on
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will find that on page.
Did I ask you for his name?
Victoria.
It's on page 36. The bottom of page 36, you will learn a little bit more about the king's cousin. The bottom. Yes, wait, are you serious? Page 36.
Oh, no. What do the neighbor's children call him? Who are
Yeah. What does he call him?
Oh, they call him like Babu. Babu.
Boogeyman, Babaloo.
Yeah, Babaloo.
What did you eat today? What did you eat today? Who did you eat today, Babaloo?
Give us a smile,
Give us a
Babaloo.
smile, because remember, physically, Ali is sort of paralyzed on one side, so he has a bit of a hobble, and he has a wooden leg that is polio. He had polio when he was a kid. Ali had polio when he was a kid.
What did they call him?
Yeah, they call him Babaloo. Like, who did you eat today? Give us a smile, so they pick on him. He calls them mouse eating, rat eating, things like that. Babu. Asaf doesn't call Hassan Babu. I know that. What's funny is Sanabar joins the neighborhood kids making fun of Ali. And that's supposedly her husband. Right? She looks at him and she just makes fun. She has a strong disdain, like she doesn't like him. Which is why Amir says that the marriage could have been arranged, because Ali is a religious man. Sanabar, not so religious. So he wonders how the two got together, and he speculates that it might have been arranged to preserve respect in the family. All right, short answer responses. Work on that. Tomorrow you have a quiz. I will not be here tomorrow. You'll have a sub. I'm not here all day tomorrow. So all you have to do is take the quiz and do your work. Do your work. Remember to get this example written down if you don't already. Well, unless you don't know it. Yeah. Unless you already know it.
She's pretty cheating. Ceremony starts less than an hour. We have to act fast. Stand up to the date for an encore. It's my first verse. Get on stage at the breaks, this is not right. Start that voice and I get up in the camera. Let it go, don't you know, on stage or a bride. They call you Torah, you should be Torah liar. I'm like, you're yeah, liar. You're pretty boy, get ready for a scene. Get a ticket.
So this has been the quote here. So I don't